Jackson sat in the dim light of a studio apartment that smelled of stale coffee and missed opportunities. On his shelf sat a dusty trophy from 5 years ago, a top salesman award. He spent most of his evenings looking at it, shining it, and telling himself that he was still that man. But the mirror told a different story. The mirror showed a man who had become the satisfied alligator. He had achieved a little success, and like that alligator after a meal, he had become paralyzed. He was chilling. He was stagnant. He was a zero-day person. He would wake up with the intent to change, but by noon, the vortex of self-sabotage would pull him back. He'd say, "I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow is the graveyard where dreams are buried. Jackson was a caterpillar who had forgotten he was meant to fly, convinced that the dirt he crawled in was all he would ever know. Then came the kick in the teeth. He lost his job. His relationship, already strained by his lack of presence, finally snapped. He was standing in the middle of his room, surrounded by the wreckage of a life built on maybe later. He felt the pain, raw, searing, and honest. Jackson remembered an old voice, a warrior's voice he had heard once. The reason people change is because of pain. He looked at the clock. It was 11:54 p.m. The old Jackson would have gone to sleep and promised a big start on Monday. But the voice whispered, "No more 0 days." He didn't go to the gym. He didn't write a business plan. Instead, he dropped to the floor and did one push-up. Just one. His chest hit the carpet. His muscles protested. But as he stood up, the 0 had been broken. At 11:58 p.m., he had moved the needle. That night, he wrote a schedule. Not a crush-yourself schedule, but a warrior's contract. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, get after it. Tuesday and Thursday, appreciate the recovery, but never let the mind go soft. He realized that discipline wasn't about being a robot. Discipline was his freedom. The first week was a nightmare. His mind was a battlefield. One morning, the present Jackson wanted to stay in bed. The bed was warm. The world was cold. He had to learn the rule of the 3 U's. He sat up and looked at his reflection. "Present me," he said aloud, "you're tired, but you are going to do a favor for future me. You're going to go for that run so that future me doesn't have to feel the weight of regret tonight." He ran 2 miles. He hated every step. He felt like he was going backward. But when he returned, he stopped and looked at the version of himself from yesterday, the past me. He said, "Thank you, past Jackson, for doing that push-up at midnight. You gave me the spark." He began to see his life as a relay race between these 3 versions of himself. He stopped being a victim of his emotions and started being a provider for his future. A month in, the middle ground hit. This is where most people quit. The initial excitement had evaporated. He was broke, he was struggling to find work, and the people around him were whispering, "Why are you doing this? You're never going to make it." Jackson felt the rejection. It stung. But he remembered, your thoughts cannot be trusted when your emotions are high. He adopted the shark mentality. He realized that if a shark swims backward, it dies. He could only move forward. He started smelling blood, not the blood of others, but the blood of his own goals. He became hungry. He realized the lion isn't king because he's the fastest. He's king because he's the hungriest. He began to seek discomfort. If he saw a hill, he ran up it. If he saw a difficult book, Thinking Fast and Slow, Emotional Intelligence, he devoured it. He realized that while he was born hopelessly average, he had a birthright to potential. He was the sculptor, and his own lazy habits were the marble. Every workout, every page read, every cold call for a new job was a hammer blow against the stone. It hurt. It was warrior time. One rainy Wednesday, Jackson was exhausted. He had worked a grueling shift at a local warehouse just to pay rent. His body ached. He thought about his mother, his sister, and the kids in his neighborhood who looked at him and saw just another guy who didn't make it. He thought, I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. He went to the park. He didn't have money for a trainer, so he used the pull-up bars. He did 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 chin-ups. He did them in sets of 5, taking breaks when needed, but he refused to leave until the number was hit. In that moment of suffering, he found a strange joy. He realized that insanity and greatness are next-door neighbors. To the people driving by in their warm cars, he looked insane, soaking wet, straining against a metal bar in the dark. But to himself, he felt like a god. He was activating his potential. He was no longer a caterpillar. 6 months passed. Jackson wasn't the same person. He had a new job, not because he was lucky, but because he was so good they couldn't ignore him. He had become the excuse other people used for why they couldn't succeed. They called him naturally disciplined, forgetting the nights he spent crying on the floor after one push-up. He had learned to forgive himself. When he messed up, and he did mess up, he didn't dwell on the failure. He didn't let the poison of praise from his past accomplishments paralyze him. He stayed hungry. One evening, he sat on a bench overlooking the city. He looked at his hands, calloused from the bars and the work. He realized that the battle wasn't won because he had money or a title. The battle was won because he had conquered the voice in his head that told him to quit. He looked at the horizon and whispered the mantra that had become his heartbeat. I can, I will, I must. You, listening to this, or you reading this, look at your life. Is your battle won? Are you the satisfied alligator, paralyzed by a little bit of success? Or are you the warrior, helmet on, standing at the edge of the fog, ready to go back in? There are no days off from wanting better. There are no days off from gratitude. There are no days off from self-care. If you are in the vortex, break it. One push-up, one page, one decision. Do it for the future you who is begging you to show up. Do it for the past you who suffered to get you this far. The world doesn't need more average people. The world needs butterflies who remember what it was like to crawl in the dirt and chose to fly anyway. Get up, get out, and stay hungry. Execution is worship, and your time is now.